So we're setting off here in the ES 300H, and if you guys are wondering why I am driving backwards compared to the other driving routes.
Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a 2022 Lexus ES 300H F Sport. In the first part of the video, I'm going to show you guys a spec sheet on the car, then we're going to do a quick walk around on the Lexus, and then we're going to sum things up with doing a driving portion with the car. That's going to be kind of like the majority of the video since this was just like a driving thing, but anyways, let's just get straight into it. So sorry about the lighting, but anyways, here is the spec sheet for the 2022 ES 300H. Now, most of this, if you actually want to read through all of it, just basically freeze a frame so you can read it, but I'm going to mention some stuff. Notice that we've got 215 horsepower, and again, this is the first time you can get the hybrid with the F Sport package, so that is pretty cool. But anyways, freeze a frame if you want to read all of the options this has. I love how it says a pricing embargo on this, but there is no pricing on this, so it doesn't really matter. But anyways, there's kind of a little bit more with the options. Obviously, it's got quite a bit. There we go. And, well, that's the option list section. Now, let's go over the front end of this ES 300H F Sport. And again, this is the all show and no-go package. That's my name for it. But anyways, we've got these LED lights. They look absolutely fantastic. Lexus is really good with the styling there. And then notice you've got the black accenting there off to the side, which looks great. And then look at the body lines there with the paint color. Again, just really good looking. Now, coming here to the front, you can see you've got Lexus's signature front grille with the parking sensors. And then you do have the Lexus logo that's blue to signify it's a hybrid. Now, for the wheels, we've got 19-inch wheels, 235 millimeter width for the tires. And I actually zoom in to show you guys, funny enough, but I like how the wheels are all blacked out. Again, looks really good, and that's kind of part of what they do with the F Sports is they make them look sportier, right? And then obviously it does upgrade the suspension as well. We've got the F Sport badge right there, and then those mirrors are pretty similar to the IS 350 that I had for a week, which you guys know I was a huge fan of that car. And yeah, you can see proportions on it are pretty good. It is a little bit on the longer side for sure. And then notice that the mirrors are actually two-tone, which is definitely nice. They do have blind spot monitoring, which is another good feature to have. And then coming here to the rear, notice we've got the hybrid badge, and then we've got the rear tire and wheel setup identical to the front. So again, and you guys can see here 235 19-inch wheels. And coming to the rear, first off, notice that we've got a spoiler on the back, which, you know, looks pretty interesting. It looks super similar to what you have on the Camry, actually. And then notice we've got Lexus's signature lights that are in the check mark fashion, just like the logo. We've got the ES300H badge. And then you guys can see down here kind of like all the trim with the chrome and all that. And something to note is this is actually like basically a prototype car, and it's in like just the fit and finish on this car as a prototype, I think is just pretty crazy. I expected there to be like weird things going on with the car, but like you guys can see, it looks like a regular car, which is pretty awesome that Lexus did that. Now, popping here to the inside of the ES 300H, notice you've got leather all over the door panel, and then you guys can see with the seats, you've got really nice leather and then perfect leather in the center portion of the seats. You've got the vents there with the USBs, 12 volts, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, you know, nothing too crazy going on. And then popping over here to the front, notice the door panel looks pretty much identical to the door panel you get in the rear, so really nice material use. The seats got the F Sport logo right there, and then notice the bolsters on them are pretty aggressive. It's part of the F Sport package, right? Suspension, seats, and then badges pretty much. But then you guys can see the steering wheel there, and then look how big the infotainment system is. You guys will be able to see it in the driving portion, and I talk about it a little bit. But yeah, massive screen, pretty cool looking overall. But yeah, definitely a nice interior. You've got the center for the top, not a panoramic, just a regular one, and that's all.
So we're setting off here in the ES 300H, and if you guys are wondering why I am driving backwards compared to the other driving routes, well, I totally forgot to hit the play button on the camera. So rookie mistake. But anyways, let's talk about this 300H F Sport. So first off, what does this F Sport package even do? What it does is it gives it cooler exterior looks, and then it also kind of firms up the suspension a little bit so it handles a little bit better. Do you actually notice it compared to a regular ES? The answer is yes, slightly. So it doesn't feel any rougher compared to a regular ES, but the turn-in feels a little bit better. The steering feel is a little bit better. It feels just a little bit more direct overall. And so that's where you can kind of feel the difference with this ES 300H. Now, aside from that, it doesn't accelerate any quicker. You don't really get any extra performance. Like, it feels a little bit better from the turn-in perspective, but I don't feel like I can corner faster, if that makes sense. Like, feels all the same. And also we're in the EV mode, which is great. Again, first time you can ever get an F Sport package with a hybrid ES. Now, the next thing is infotainment system. Now, I'm just gonna be clicking random buttons because obviously I have to pay attention to driving in the road, and well, this is kind of like a driving review, but we've got this gigantic infotainment system touchscreen, and you can use the keypad to basically go through the different menus with it. Really easy to use. I feel like the touch response time is pretty good as well. I mean, it's just kind of like Lexus's normal infotainment system. But yeah, overall, I think it looks great, and hopefully you guys can see that and see the response time. And I don't know what I'm pressing, so hopefully that comes through on video. Wow. And yeah, let's continue along with the review. So from the rest of the driving perspective, again, like suspension is really smooth, seats are really nice, like the bolstering on them is perfect. That's another part of this F Sport package, is you get these really nice bolsters that just hold you in place really well. Obviously you get the F Sport badge there at the bottom of the steering wheel. Hopefully you guys can see that. And something about the steering wheel I want to mention is it's really nice. So you've got nice smooth leather at the top, perforated leather here on the sides, gives you a little bit of a better grip. You got these paddle shifters if you want to shift through that CVT, but again, it's a CVT, so I just would pop it in the sport mode, which I have it in, and then just let the transmission do its thing. Trust me, that'll be better than doing the manual mode. It's not like the manual mode's bad, but the automatic mode just does things better. And I think most people looking into this car are probably never gonna throw it in manual mode. Something I want to mention though is this is a pre-production car, and pre-production cars can be pretty interesting, right? There's usually, you know, fit and finish issues and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just mentioning this because I think this is important to Lexus ethos. So usually there's like little things, like they might creak, some things might in the car might not work perfectly fine, and you know, that's just kind of like usual pre-production car things. You expect that. This has none of that, and this is a pre-production car. Like, I'm so impressed, and I mention this in videos all the time with Lexus and Toyota build quality, and this just really shows it. Like, their build quality is so good that even this pre-production car, like the fit and finish on everything is super nice, and there's no creaks, there's no rattles. It feels like a very well built car, and it's a pre-production unit. So yeah, I think that just goes to show how good Lexus is with that stuff. And something else I want to mention is, you guys know that I recently had the IS 350 F Sport all-wheel drive. Now that has a completely different setup, right? All-wheel drive, and it's got a 6-speed automatic. This has a CVT, so again, completely different setup. But I can feel the similarities with the suspension between those two, because again, they're both F Sport packages, and they both have that same characteristic where they're very smooth. But again, the handling is actually really good. That's something that Lexus is really good at, is handling with their cars. They handle really well, and it's because they spend so much time on the suspension with the cars. Now, aside from that, what else about this ES? I think it's a really good luxury car. I think, and I will mention this, even though this is kind of like a driving video, I will have like a normal Ben Hardy review on this in the future. Obviously, when I'm able to get my hands on one that's not just kind of like a driving gig. But I will mention, it looks great on the outside. I definitely like, you guys know I'm a fan of Lexus styling. Interior wise, really nice as well. All the touch points are nice. There's some like not so nice materials throughout, but you know, a lot of the dash has nice materials. And again, a lot of the touch points throughout the car also very nice as well. And so just overall, it's a very nice place to be. This would be a great, again, luxury daily driver, no complaints there. And it has some cool stuff like automatic climate, and then also automatic seats. So like, it has heated and cooled seats, but you set it in auto, and so then once the seat reaches a certain temperature, it'll kind of like slowly low down so that your butt doesn't freeze, for example, with the cooled seat, which is pretty cool. And I'll floor it again. Gauge cluster looks cool. I mean, it gets up and moves. It's not crazy fast, but I mean, it gets up and moves. And again, this isn't about acceleration. This is about getting great fuel economy. That's why it's a hybrid, right? And so I guess my final thoughts here on this ES 300H, again, it looks great. Interior is great. Quality is definitely there. And again, being a pre-production car, this really shows Lexus build quality, just really shines through. And from a driving perspective, it just drives like an amazing luxury car. But it does have a slight sporty side, not from the acceleration, but from the suspension handling. It smooths everything out, but it definitely has good turn in. The steering definitely feels nice as well. And it's just a really good car. So if you're looking for a really nice daily driver car that has just a slight fun side to it, that's where this ES 300H shines.